headaches, then the next thing you might have ringing in your ears.
I thought I had an inner ear infection. I went to my doctor, and she's kind of, your ears are clean.
Or you may be a little disoriented, or you may feel a little dizzy.
So they sent me down for a CAT scan.
But eventually, you may feel what is called peripheral neuropathy. And when you get to this stage, you have irreversible brain damage.
For the last 4 years, I have these lesions in my brain. Don't know where they came from.
You may begin to get swelling.
I hurt everywhere in my body. My legs, my feet, everywhere.
Your extremities, especially the arms and the legs.
I couldn't move. I couldn't reach my face to eat.
And never know where the pain is going to be. The pain can be excruciating. Think about the workers or the people whose yards or backyards or within 1,000 feet of their home have a well pad.
They can't get rid of the tanks, and the fumes are all the time.
They're inhaling these chemicals 24/7 around the clock.
What's that smell?
I don't know. I can't smell anything.
You lost your sense of smell, and so did he?
That is one of the side effects of hydrogen sulfide exposure. I don't smell the cat box.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, for 2 years now, I haven't smelled flowers.
Taste, I can't taste hardly nothing.
I can taste salty and I can taste sweet.
Salty, I can taste it. Sweet, I can taste it.
But I don't get any of the subtleties or aromas of food. It's like all texture for me now. Yeah, it's not good.
I go out and I talk to the bosses, you know, the men who are overlooking what's going on, and even their supervisors, the public relation people that talk to us from the industry. They are so surprised. They look at me as if I'm crazy when I ask them, well, where are they mixing in the chemicals now? Oh, we're not using any chemicals. Well, if we are, they're safe. Even the bosses don't know what they're telling those men to handle. And once the public hears the story, and they'll say, well, why aren't we out there monitoring? We can't monitor until we know what they're using. There's no way to monitor. You can't.
Leaving my interview with Theo, driving around, it was clear that there'd been no planning at all. All the gas drilling infrastructure was spread out like a teenager's bedroom. A pipe yard over here, a waste pit hidden behind a mountain over there. Thank God my last interview had a sense of humor.
So the other night I had this dream that I was in this high school, or this middle school maybe. I was in this restroom, and there was feces everywhere. I was appalled. Somebody, by God, is responsible for this. It's the principal. So I was trying to gather up this crap, and I was handling it. I was trying to put it in bags. And I thought, okay, well, I'm gonna present it to the principal. I'm gonna put it in a bag. I'm gonna put it in a really pretty bag. And then I'm gonna put ribbons on it because I really wanna get his attention. I wanna drop this bag of crap on his desk, and I wanna shock him. So he thinks it's a present, but when he opens it, it's crap. And it'll get his attention, and I'll take responsibility. I mean, God, how symbolic is this dream? So you know what? Finally, it dawns on me. Crap is crap, no matter what kind of package you put it in. That was my lesson. That was my message. It ain't pretty anymore. There ain't no way you can make it pretty, Josh. Stop trying to make it pretty. Just do it. Just show it for what it is. 115 million cubic feet of gas was estimated and acknowledged to have blown out into West Divide Creek.
It's on up beyond that, and it's on down also. It goes all the way down, probably a quarter of a mile, half a mile.
Because it's really bubbling out here, just like Steve said. It's like a Pepsi bottle.
You ready?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, it burns.
Yeah, I'd say.
Keep your face out.
That's Divide Creek. That is where the seep occurred in 2008 in the summer. There was dead crawdads, there was dead rabbits, dead birds, which I still have the bodies.
You have the bodies?
I have the bodies in the freezer.
House?
Yeah,
in the freezer?
Because even DOW hasn't been able in almost a year to figure out who to send them to. And
this is all in Canada?
Yeah.
You feel like you don't want to sit down or get in the water?
Yeah, because you don't know. You don't know. My dad, he was down here all the time in the summertime and drinking out of the creek because the creek was good creek water.
Sure.
The year of the seep, it was discovered in April. He'd been drinking out of the creek for a month. He was dead 2 years later of pancreatic cancer.
There are no weeds in the funnel. We've taken the weeds out. We're just going to do the gas, same way, cover the seep. Now the whole seep's not covered, it's still bubbling all around it. All right, you ready? Now that's still burning yellow. Now this is 12 inches high, and the flame's going up probably another 12 inches, so you got 2 feet there.
Were they fined for Divide Creek seep?
Yeah, biggest fine in Colorado history. $371,000. I don't think it bankrupted the company. The corporate business model is to come into an area, develop it as fast as you can, and if you trash anything, you make the people who you impact prove it. You make them argue it in a court of law, and the last person standing gets bought off and you move on.
I had tried to keep anger and sorrow at bay. But the moment I knelt down at Divide Creek, looked upstream, and noticed the bend, it reminded me of home, and I broke apart. She said she has the dead birds and the frogs that were in the creek in her freezer. I want to see them. Let's go get the rest of the story.
God, you remember that dream? This is it. There's one bird. In the summer of 2008, all this black stuff with diesel, organic stuff came up and came into the creek. We had a kind of a mass die-off. Get out of here. Ended up in the freezer as specimens. That's a dove, and this is the rabbit. He was right down there by the seep, right down there where propane and ethane was found in the groundwater. This just broke my heart. Look at this little guy. He didn't even have a chance.
Oh, yeah. Did you ever think that you'd be freezing rabbits, doves, and animals in your freezer? That you wanted to get autopsied?
No, that's probably one of the creepiest things. This is so foreign and creepy and alien to me. To have these critters just die and leave, to try to preserve them, it's creepy and weird and unnatural. And then put them in that bag.
All right, in this Walmart bag?
Yeah, in that Walmart.
You can't get this at Walmart. Just
that you know of.
If you really wanted that you know of. All right, thanks.
I'll see you later. Take care.
Right.
Think positive.
You too. This is just a nightmare. Soon I'm gonna wake up. Someone's gonna bring me round. This is I wanted to get out of Gasland as fast as I could. But there was nowhere to go. I'd been on the road 3.5 weeks. I realized that I hadn't been on a single road between Arkansas and Santa Fe that didn't have a gas well on it. All the states started swirling together. Everywhere I went, it was the same story.
He says, you see this big dark spot? That's brain damage.
Huge banks of compressor stations in people's backyards.
I can't stay here too long.
Wells drilled right across the street from people's houses.
Yeah, get a picture of the pretty flowers over there.
Poison streams in Arkansas.
Boy, they're making a beautiful, beautiful piece of country and turning it into just a big trash dump.
Huge refineries right next to cemeteries. sand farms where toxic sludge from waste pits were right next to residential communities.
And the dust blows, the toxic waste fumes blow on them.
Too many stories to recount. Like a skipping record, a song that you hear over and over again, like a scar that runs through you and comes out your face. Everyone had the same look of worry.
We can't keep going like we are. I've heard that the White House power plants is supposed to go natural gas, and we tell them don't do it.
The sheer scope of this massive drilling campaign boggled the mind. As a detective, I was totally out of my league.
Good afternoon, Halliburton Communications. Is there any particular state that you're looking at?
I'd really love to do an interview with Cabot.
Need to hang up.
You may hang up.
I will pass on the message.
I do suggest that you resubmit the email.
Call me back in a day or two.
Thanks, and have a great day. Bye.
I wanted to get home, get a sense of the bigger picture. Then I looked at the map. To get home, I had to go through the bigger picture. Texas. The Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, the Barnett Shale, the place all of this started.
Here's a map of the Dallas-Fort Worth metropolitan area, and all those dots you're looking at here are oil and gas wells around Fort Worth. On most of the dots, there are multiple wells. So each of those dots is a what they call a pad, and from each of those pads, they can sometimes drill 2, 5, 10 wells. So if you take each of those dots and multiply it by 5 to 10, you start to see why we've now got about 10,000 wells around the city of Fort Worth. The Texas Commission on Environmental Quality had no idea. The TCEQ had no idea how many gas wells were being put in and were in the ground around the city of Fort Worth. We were interested in kind of getting a handle on this. What were really the emissions that were coming out from the oil and gas sector? And we didn't want to rely on the state's numbers. The state had just admitted publicly that they didn't know what the emissions were, that their numbers were grossly underestimated. So we did our own. We now know that emissions from this sector are greater than the accumulated emissions of all passenger vehicles, all the cars and trucks in Dallas and Fort Worth.
So let me get this straight. You're saying that oil and gas development in the last how many years is greater than the total car emissions for the entire city?
That's right. If you look at the latest inventories of what emissions are from passenger vehicles like cars, trucks, vans, motorcycles, it turns out it's about 200 tons a day of emissions, the kinds of things that form ozone and fine particles. Now, if you take a look at the latest emission inventory that I worked on with Environmental Defense Fund from the oil and gas sector around the city of Fort Worth, it's about 200 tons a day.
The rigs were burning diesel, some of them 800 gallons a day. But that wasn't all. There was something coming off the condensate tanks. I'd seen these condensate tanks everywhere, all across the United States, but I never got a chance to look at them through an infrared camera that picked up hydrocarbons.
All right, there it is. Okay. Tank, vents, school.
Right.
Condensate venting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you see that?
This is just what's coming off the top.
Yeah.
And that's why you shouldn't walk up that ladder, which I've done.
Isn't that amazing?
Whoops.
Yeah.
What is all that stuff? I found out what that stuff is when I got a call from the mayor of Dish.
Hey, we're going to have to turn off the TV for a little while. Can you go sit at Daddy's chair in his desk? I'm not going to leave you, baby. I'm going to be right out there. The town of Dish is 2 square miles. It's about 150 people. And in 2005, the town changed its name to Dish in exchange for Free Dish Network. So everybody in the city gets Free Dish Network for a period of 10 years. We have 10 huge, massive lines coming through here, or meeting here. Those 10 lines carry 1 billion cubic feet of gas a day. So we have 10 billion cubic feet of gas going through the town of Dish every day.
At most places where pipelines converge, there are compressor stations, huge turbine engines that compress the gas into the pipeline.
Pipelines are designed to have this release where they're shooting natural gas into the air. Of course, they tell you that this all shoots up goes straight to the moon and there's none of it lingering around. There's a cloud lingering over one of our subdivisions. When things like this happen, most of the people in the community think that they've just taken their last breath.
Calvin Tillman was so frustrated with the TCEQ's inaction that he commissioned his own air study. The results read sort of like the back of a pamphlet that you don't want to pick up at the American Cancer Society. Study found, and I quote, amazing and very high levels of known and suspected human carcinogens and neurotoxins. These chemicals include benzene, dimethyl disulfide, methyl ethyl disulfide, ethyl methyl ethyl disulfide, trimethylbenzene, diethylbenzene,